picture this. It's the first night in your home. You're sitting there looking down at the kitchen floor, and there's this tiny 12-pound Bull Terrier puppy.
Oh, yeah, they are just impossibly small at that age.
Right. And honestly, the personality coming out of this incredibly small, dense body is just, well, it's comical.
It really is.
But there is a massive reality hiding behind that cute exterior. So today, we're pulling from a huge stack of veterinary notes, behavioral frameworks, and 19th century breed histories to unpack the critical window of Bull Terrier puppyhood.
Yeah, and it's an incredible high-stakes window of time, frankly.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is to figure out exactly how the rules you teach that tiny puppy today will directly govern the powerful 50-pound powerhouse they're about to become.
Because you watch them on that first night, and it's just nonstop discovery. I mean, they are downloading information about their environment at lightning speed.
Oh, for sure. Like she's intensely sniffing the rug, and she shoves her entire face into an open grocery bag.
Yep, just investigating everything.
Next thing you know, she's grabbed a shoelace. Then she's trotting across the room, chasing someone's heels.
And completely forgetting the expensive toy you bought her.
Exactly. 10 minutes later, she's discovered that a wooden chair leg is, in fact, chewable. She gets wildly, like almost aggressively excited about absolutely nothing, and then boom.
Just drops to the floor.
Yeah, falls asleep mid-thought.
And if you're standing in that kitchen, you're probably laughing. I mean, you're chasing her to get the shoelace back, maybe gently pushing her away when she jumps up on your leg.
Because it's cute.
Right, it's genuinely endearing. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, every single reaction you give her on night one is already hardwiring the foundational rules of how that household operates.
Right, because she pushes, you push back, and her brain immediately reads it as a game.
Exactly.
Like a kid squeals and runs away, she instantly turns it into a high-speed pursuit.
Yeah.
It's all just raw data to her.
Precisely. She doesn't have adult strength yet. I mean, that is still months away. But this deep dive is really about this short, incredibly critical period where you have to teach this animal how to use its body, its mouth, and its emotions.
Because we are talking about historic 19th century Bull and Terrier traits here.
Right, the genetics don't just go away.
Exactly. Breeders originally wanted immense physical strength, undeniable confidence, absolute persistence, and this intense independent decision-making ability.
Which is a lot of dog.
It is.
Yeah.
And right now, all those genetic traits are just focused on your shoelace. But we need to figure out how to guide those instincts before they become physically unmanageable.
Because they will become unmanageable if you don't.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the consensus among the behavioral experts is that there is one specific issue that practically every single new owner starts frantically searching for help with, usually within the first 48 hours.
Ah, yes. The biting.
The jaws of life.
It is intense. I mean, these puppies explore the physical world entirely with their mouths.
Hands, clothing, furniture, sleeves. Like literally anything hanging within a 2-foot radius is fair game.
Right. And now we know this is developmentally normal exploration. It is not aggression.
It's not some grand plot for household dominance.
No, not at all. It is perfectly normal sensory input for them. But normal does not mean you just sit back and let it happen.
Right. You still have to manage it.
Exactly. This specific phase is where bite inhibition, which is the psychological mechanism of learning how to control the physical force of their own jaw, that either gets built now or it completely fails to develop.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
If a puppy is aggressively biting my ankles or my hands, isn't yelling no, or maybe grabbing their muzzle ceremony, show them who is a boss.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah. Isn't that how you establish physical boundaries with a tough breed?
It's a very common assumption. But what's fascinating here is that the behavioral data shows that kind of direct physical confrontation actually tends to backfire completely.
Wait, really? How does showing authority backfire?
Because you aren't actually communicating authority to a terrier. You are communicating conflict.
Oh, and they love conflict.
Right. It increases fear, and crucially, it spikes their arousal levels. When you yell or grab the muzzle, their nervous system registers an escalation in energy.
So they just match that energy.
Exactly. Because of their genetic makeup, a terrier's response to friction is almost always to push back harder. It just turns into a physical contest.
Wow, so you're actually provoking them.
Yeah, you are inadvertently increasing the exact biting behavior you are trying to stop. What actually works neurologically is redirection and withdrawal.
Meaning you give them something else to chew on.
Yes. You have to get an appropriate toy into that mouth before it lands on your sleeve. Or, if it's too late and things are too intense, you calmly remove the one thing they actually want.
Which is you.
Right. Your attention. You just end the interaction entirely.
And this leads to what was, for me, a massive aha moment when reviewing these behavioral frameworks.
The evening frenzies.
Yes. You see a lot of owners talking about how their puppy goes into this absolute biting frenzy in the evening, just becoming a total terror, zooming around, snapping at everything.
So common.
And the natural human assumption is, oh man, she has so much energy. I didn't walk her enough today. She needs more exercise and more stimulation to burn this off.
Ah, yes, the infamous sleep paradox.
It's the exact opposite of what you'd think. The source material says an evening biting frenzy usually means the puppy is profoundly overtired.
Which totally shifts how you handle it.
Right. An overtired Bull Terrier puppy doesn't just calmly nod off on the rug. They experience what we call a sleep debt. And that causes their brain to pump out cortisol, right?
Yep, a stress hormone. And that cortisol spike mimics high energy, making them mouthier, more frantic, and just completely wired.
It's exactly the biological mechanism behind a human toddler having an absolute meltdown at bedtime.
Oh, it's identical. They are exhausted, but their nervous system is too overstimulated to downregulate.
So what do you do?
Protecting their sleep is honestly one of the most underrated, powerful tools you have in this first year. Sleep directly supports their neurological learning, their physical growth, and their emotional regulation.
So you have to enforce it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mandating quiet nap times is the direct biological cure for that frantic, bite everything energy.
So you give them a safe resting space and actively protect those quiet periods.
I guess you shouldn't treat putting them away in a crate or a pen for a nap as a punishment.
Never. It's a fundamental biological need.
Right.
And while we're talking about their mouths, we have to touch on the mechanics of teething.
Oh boy, yeah.
A teething puppy experiences real discomfort in their gums, which means they chew more frequently and they bite down harder to relieve that pressure.
Yeah.
This is why extreme puppy proofing is required before the dog even crosses your threshold.
And when you look at the reality of puppy proofing for a Bull Terrier, I mean, you have to look at your house like it's a hazardous obstacle course.
You really do. Cords, shoes, socks, kids' toys, medications, cleaning products, small objects, batteries, remotes, toxic plants, anything sharp, laundry, trash.
Everything.
Everything must be secured out of reach. And there's a very specific reason this matters more with this particular breed, isn't there?
Right. It goes back to that 19th century persistence. They don't just chew the remote control or the sock to destroy it, they frequently swallow it.
Which is absolutely terrifying.
It is. Once a terrier commits to an object in their mouth, their impulse is to finish the job, not spit it out.
The veterinary notes actually give clear warning signs for this. Like, if you see your puppy exhibiting repeated vomiting or retching without producing anything, a swollen or visibly painful belly.
Those are major red flags.
Yeah, or if they suddenly refuse their food, or if they're just extremely lethargic, especially if you suspect they got into a missing sock. What is the immediate protocol?
That is a same-day, drop-everything call to the veterinarian.
No waiting it out.
Absolutely not. It is not a wait-and-see-until-tomorrow situation. You cannot mess around with a potential intestinal blockage because the tissue in the digestive tract can start dying very quickly.
Okay, so we've established that inside the house, they use their mouths to figure out if things are safe and to relieve teething pressure.
Right.
But eventually you have to take them outside. And suddenly, their brain is hit with a tsunami of new data sites, sounds, smells, strange people, other dogs.
Which brings us to the most misunderstood concept in puppyhood.
Socialization.
Yes. This is an area where modern behavioral science strongly reframes conventional wisdom.
Yeah, because when I hear the word socialization, I immediately picture taking the puppy everywhere.
Just exposing them to everything all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let them meet a ton of people. Let every single stranger on the street pet them. Introduce them to a massive pack of dogs at the local park as fast as humanly possible so they learn to be friendly.
And that is precisely the myth of the meet and greet.
It's a myth.
Completely. True socialization is actually about psychological conditioning. It's about teaching the puppy that the world is safe, that it's manageable, and that they possess the frustration tolerance to simply exist around new things without having to directly interact with them.
So they don't need to meet everyone?
No, sometimes the absolute best socialization you can do is just letting the puppy sit at a comfortable distance and watch a bicycle go by or watch a stranger walk past without interacting with it at all.
But wait, if I have a puppy who is eagerly pulling on the leash, rushing up to every single person and every single dog they see,
Right?
isn't that a great thing? Doesn't that mean they are just super confident, friendly dogs?
This raises an important question because we as humans constantly conflate the two. What's fascinating here is that excitement does not equal confidence.
Really?
Yeah, a dog rushing forward is often acting on pure impulse without processing the environment. It's sensory overload, not bravery.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
They are highly aroused. They actually need just as much help learning impulse control as a shy, hesitant puppy does. If you let them rush every single person or dog, you are hardwiring a habit of frantic overarousal in public spaces.
Which, again, is mildly annoying at 12 pounds, but a physical nightmare at 50 pounds.
Exactly.
The behavioral experts say to watch for subtle signs that they are actually overwhelmed. We aren't just looking for obvious panic,
Right, it's the little thing.
like suddenly freezing in place, trying to hide behind your legs,
Uh-huh.
refusing a high-value treat that they would normally devour at home, a tucked posture, or just nonstop frantic barking.
And when it comes to meeting other dogs to build those social skills, the consensus is to strictly curate those interactions. You want a very small number of healthy, socially appropriate, calm adult dogs who will teach the puppy boundaries gently.
So not a free-for-all.
Definitely not.
In fact, the veterinary and behavioral consensus is to skip dog parks entirely during this developmental stage.
I completely agree with that.
They are way too chaotic, they are mostly unsupervised by professionals, and a young puppy can easily get completely overwhelmed.
Or worse, frankly.
Yeah, they can learn some genuinely terrible habits by observing and interacting with highly reactive, ill-behaved dogs.
Exactly. You are systematically controlling the environment to build their confidence. And speaking of environment, when we manage that high prey drive we mentioned earlier, we absolutely have to talk about kids and cats.
Oh, yes. With children, active supervision is non-negotiable.
It really is.
The physiological reality of kids and puppies is intense. The rules for kids basically boil down to do not act like prey.
That's the golden rule.
No chasing the puppy, no screaming and running away.
Because we have to understand the neurology of prey drive. When a terrier sees something small moving quickly away from them and making high-pitched noises, their brain releases a massive hit of dopamine.
Oh, so the chase feels good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The chase itself becomes deeply self-rewarding.
So you actually have to teach children to behave in a way that is the total opposite of their natural instincts. Like, you have to teach a kid to stand completely still, like a tree, looking up at the sky if the puppy gets overexcited.
Because a boring stationary tree doesn't trigger that dopamine chase loop.
Right, and you teach them to use a long toy to play instead of wrestling with their bare hands.
And then there's the cats. Or, any small household animals, really.
Yeah, the behavioral framework is very firm here. You need physical barriers.
Absolutely. Leashes indoors, baby gates, safe elevated escape routes that only the cat can access.
And you can't just train it out of them.
Well, you can and should reward the puppy heavily for calm observation of the cat, but you cannot train away their foundational genetics.
Right, that terrier ancestry, that ingrained dopamine loop associated with a high prey drive, is hardwired into their biology.
You have to respect the biology.
Excellent, consistent puppy training can drastically improve how the dog coexists with your specific familiar household cat over time through careful, managed groundwork. But it does not magically transfer to every other cat or squirrel they will ever meet outside.
No, it doesn't.
Small animals always need to be securely separated when unsupervised, full stop.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, all this environmental management teaching calm observation outside, managing the prey drive inside, it leads directly into building the foundational everyday habits they will need when they double or triple in size.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me. It's the concept of impulse control. Let's look at greetings.
Yeah.
You have to demand 4 paws on the floor from day one.
Yes, from the very beginning.
Because when a tiny 12-pound puppy jumps up to greet your guests, everyone says, "ah," and they bend down and pet the puppy.
Which means they are actively rewarding the jumping behavior.
But a year later, when a 50-pound muscular Bull Terrier launches off the hardwood floor and body slams your grandmother, suddenly nobody understands why the dog is misbehaving.
It's incredibly unfair to the dog. You end up punishing the adult dog for a rule you happily let the puppy break because it was cute.
Right. And then there's resource guarding, which is a huge issue for powerful breeds.
A very dangerous issue.
This one blew my mind because the old school tough guy advice was always, You have to take the dog's food bowl away while they're eating to prove who's boss and show them that you own the food.
Which is a remarkably terrible idea that directly causes behavioral fallout.
It's such a terrible idea. Think about the psychology of it like this. Imagine you are at a really nice restaurant eating a fantastic extensive steak,
Okay, I'm with you.
and your waiter keeps walking by and just snatching your plate away in the middle of a bite.
That would be awful.
Right. Holding it out of your reach, staring you down, and then putting it back. They do this to prove they are in charge of the restaurant. Would that make you respect the waiter?
No.
No. It would make you incredibly anxious every time they walk near your table. And eventually, you'd probably stab them with your fork to protect your dinner.
That is a perfect analogy. Yanking the bowl away doesn't establish leadership. It builds severe anxiety and resource guarding.
It totally backfires.
The puppy learns a very simple equation. Human hands approaching my bowl means I am about to lose my meal, therefore I must defend it.
That actually completely flips my understanding. I always thought dog training historically was about dominance, but you're saying it's actually an economic transaction.
It really is.
Like if I approach the bowl, I need to bring a better currency like a piece of roasted chicken, so they see my approach as a bonus, not a tax collector coming to steal their kibble.
Exactly. You teach them that you approaching means amazing things happen. And that exact same economic transaction ties right into object exchange.
So if they steal your shoe,
You don't chase them down, pin them, and pry their jaws open. You offer a trade for a vastly superior toy or treat. You are building foundational trust.
these foundation skills are entirely about trust and impulse control, like door and gate control, for instance. You teach them to sit and wait at a physical barrier instead of surging through it the second it opens.
Yep. Impulse control.
And then there's the recall cue, teaching them to come when called. The behavioral experts are absolutely adamant about this. Never, ever poison the recall cue.
Right. Poisoning the cue means you never call the dog over to you to do something they find unpleasant.
So don't call them for a bath.
Exactly. Don't call them to you to give them a bath or call them to clip their nails or call them to immediately put them on a leash and leave the fun park.
Because then they just won't come.
Right. If the word come always predicts the end of their fun, their independent decision-making kicks in and they will simply stop coming.
Instead, you call them, give them a high-value treat, and release them right back to sniffing the grass. You make coming to you the best deal in town.
And building this deep foundation of trust and clear communication becomes absolutely vital when we hit the next major physiological phase, the physical reality of adolescence.
Oh yes, the messy middle.
The teenage phase.
Where it suddenly feels like the dog's brain has fallen out of their head and they have forgotten every single thing you ever taught them.
It can definitely feel that way, but if we look at the biology of development, adolescence is a massive, chaotic shift.
Just hormones everywhere.
Yeah, their bodies are surging with hormones, their brains are actively rewiring. You are going to see a huge increase in physical strength, a sudden, intense spike in their interest in the environment over you, occasional total selective hearing, and maybe even a return to that intense chewing phase as their adult teeth settle into the jawbone.
It's the ultimate teenage rebellion phase. Now, my immediate thought when dealing with a teenage dog who has boundless, frustrating energy is, okay, I need to exhaust them.
That's what everyone thinks.
Right. I'm going to take this dog on a 5-mile run on the pavement, or we're going to play fetch where they leap high in the air for an hour straight just to tire them out so they behave in the house.
And the veterinary consensus strictly warns against exactly that strategy.
Wait, why? If they have the energy, why shouldn't we burn it off?
Because of the hidden physical reality of their skeletal development?
Oh, the growth plates.
Exactly. While they are still growing, their growth plates, the areas of new bone growth at the ends of the long bones, are made of soft cartilage that hasn't fully calcified into solid bone yet.
So they're fragile.
They are incredibly vulnerable. There should be absolutely no forced running on hard surfaces, no repetitive jumping, and no heavy impact activities.
So exhausting them is actually harmful.
Yes. Exhausting them physically with intense repetition to force good behavior creates microfractures in that cartilage, which is a guaranteed recipe for early onset arthritis and orthopedic disaster later in life.
Yikes. So what do you do instead?
What they actually need is free movement, exploratory sniffing walks where they set the pace, and structured low-impact play.
Steady, controlled growth is the goal, not rapid physical exertion. The nutritional guidelines even explicitly point out that you should not add extra calcium or other bone-building supplements to their food unless your vet specifically prescribes it.
Right, because artificially pushing that growth can actually severely damage their skeletal development.
Which brings up the crucial role of your veterinarian during this entire first year. They are your primary partner.
Absolutely. You aren't just going in for basic vaccination shots.
They are carefully tracking growth curves, body condition scores, skin health, dental development, and joint movement.
And there's a really profound piece of advice here regarding pain, because dogs don't complain using words the way we do.
Right.
If a young, rapidly growing dog has persistent limping, you can't just brush it off as temporary growing pain.
Exactly. And even more importantly, you have to look closely at behavioral changes.
Yes.
Sudden irritability, pulling away when you try to pet them, a sudden loss of interest in play, or excessive unusual sleepiness. As owners, we constantly view these things as teenage defiance or a massive training regression.
But physiologically, those behavioral changes often point directly to physical discomfort or chronic pain.
Wow.
Their nervous system is on edge because of inflammation or injury. They act out because they hurt.
It really forces you to completely rethink how you view a dog's behavior. It's not always about obedience. I mean, sometimes it's about biology.
It does. It forces you to pause and ask why the behavior is happening. What is the underlying mechanism? Rather than just quickly searching for a way to stop it.
So bring this all full circle back to that tiny and 12-pound puppy on the kitchen floor on night 1.
The one destroying the shoelace.
Yeah, that one. Every single bit of exploring, the mouthing of the shoelaces, the jumping up on your leg, the frantic chasing, the collapsing into a deep sleep. Well, wait. It's not just random puppy chaos.
No, it's not.
It is that precise 19th century Bull Terrier genetics, the persistence, the physical confidence, and the deep attachment to their people just showing up in a miniature package.
Exactly. When the puppy repeats a behavior 10 times because it gets a reaction out of you, that's the historic persistence.
Yeah.
When they lean their entire body weight against you on the couch, that's the breed's famous human attachment.
Yeah.
When they pause and weigh whether to come to you when called or go chase a blowing leaf.
That is their hardwired independent decision-making.
Yes.
And our job isn't to crush those incredible traits. It's to understand the mechanics behind them and guide them.
Precisely.
Yeah.
To build the trust and impulse control necessary before that determined little puppy becomes a highly powerful 50-pound adult dog.
And according to the developmental frameworks we've been looking at, the very next step in guiding that development starts with something so foundational. It dictates their cellular energy, their skeletal growth, and even their neurological behavioral success.
Nutrition. What that puppy eats shapes absolutely everything about their future.
Which is exactly what we'll be diving into next time. But walking through all this psychology and biology leaves me thinking.
I know what you're thinking, and it's a fascinating parallel.
Yeah.
If a puppy's so-called accidents and defiance are actually just them desperately seeking information, reacting to an overwhelming environment, or masking physical discomfort, I mean, how much of the bad behavior we see in adult humans is actually just the result of a poorly constructed environment and a lack of emotional regulation during their own critical learning windows?
Now that is a profound thought to chew on. Pun fully intended. A huge thank you for joining us as we explore the kitchen floor and the incredible biology beyond it. Don't forget to check the description for the Vital Pet download link so you can easily track all those important health records, growth charts, and vet visits we talked about today.
And as always, a quick reminder that this deep dive is for educational purposes only. If you are ever concerned about your dog's health or behavior, please consult your veterinarian.
Until next time, keep observing, keep asking why, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.